Greetings, people of the internet. This is Scott with Serkworks Art Labs. Welcome to the underground laboratory where I create robots, aliens, zombies, and other imminent threats to humanity. Now, it's November, which is mean October has come and gone, and with that, Halloween, and it's always a sad thing for me because I love Halloween so much. And the problem is we do these, these Halloween haunts and all this Halloween celebrations and things like that. And it seems like after October's over, not a whole lot of people are interested in watching that stuff, which is kind of a bummer. But you're here, you're ready to watch, so that's cool. So some of you are still interested in Halloween or still want to capture some of that feeling. But the good thing is we have the technology that is the paralleloscope, which allows us to go to alternate dimensions. And we can go to a place where Halloween happens every day, so we can go real time, we can view what's going on with this pretty, if I do say so myself, awesome yard haunt, pirate themed yard haunt that I may have had a little help putting together. So we're going to go to that and we're going to show you some clips of that and also talk about how some of this came together, so let's get to it. Alright, so I want to take you behind the scenes of our yard haunt for 2016. So every year I partner up with a friend of mine. We do it at his house. He's got a nice big corner lot that kind of wraps around. So we set up this yard haunt. It's always a pirate theme. Now what you're seeing right now, this is basically just boxes and tombstones and things. We got just a bunch of stuff that we carry over from every year, and then each year we try to add one or two fairly new larger props. This is one I think we did last year. That's the Davy Jones, carved the claw out of foam and hard coated and everything. Now this is the one of the newer ones for this year. The skeleton dummy we've had, but that captain's steering wheel, that's something that we created for this year. My friend actually did that, and it's got a motor and it turns and everything. And some of these aren't very impressive in the daylight, and the big problem is that you can see them better in the daylight. And again, this is days before setup or a day before setup, so it's not totally finished. And he used to have this big giant tree in the front yard. It was real creepy and everything, and that tree fell down, so he had to build these big giant structures to kind of hang that thing from and everything. What you saw before, and these are some boxes. We did those. That's just cardboard boxes that we put foam on the sides and then painted it to look like they're boxes, but really they're just cardboard. So that's something, I may have done a video on that. I think I did way back if you look in the archives. But now you can see that grave yard start to fill up. We've got tons of gravestones. Some we made, some we purchased, and and then again just a bunch of skeletons and bones that we used to kind of fill that graveyard. But once we get into like the actual night of, and you see it at night, it's pretty cool. The only problem is, and here's us testing out some of the fog machines, and we got a bubble machine. We were gonna get this bubble fog machine that actually made fog bubbles, and when they popped, they turned to fog. I forgot if it was. I forgot what the deal was. I think he purchased one. And then I think it like as on Craigslist, and I think it didn't work. But now this is a cannon with a skull. That cannon will actually fire smoke. It's hooked up to a fog machine. Oh, here, I'll test it out. There you can kind of see that. It'd be nice if we can get it like make a sound like a boom. That would be pretty cool. But right now it just kind of fires the smoke, and actually when it's got red lights inside that they glow. And I'm wondering if we forgot to turn those on. This is our kicking guy. He's hooked up to a windshield wiper motor. That's what's kind of making him kick. And then, so he just kind of hangs there. This guy's built from a shiatsu massage thing. They've got these two knobs that kind of move and massage your back. So his head and his arm are hooked onto a separate one. We've done a few different props with those, but they're always the same thing with these tentacles you see in the back. They're supposed to be hooked up to a shiatsu massage, and they're supposed to move around. But those things are really hard to get right, get the positioning right and everything. So this year we didn't have much success. You can kind of see that bubble machine going. And then we've got some of our skeletons here. But yeah, at night it really looks cool. Unfortunately, the camera doesn't really pick up that much. So hopefully you can see when we start to get to the nighttime photos. Now this is our drinking pirate. It's got a pump that kind of pumps through, and it looks like he's drinking sort of antifreeze. But what that is you can see those 2-liter bottles there. They're all filled with, we buy a bunch of like dollar store highlighters, and we cut those open, we soak them in there so they become blacklight sensitive. So now you can kind of see we're at night. So we got a projection that projects scenes from Pirates of the Caribbean movies and everything. That, what you see up there, you'll see it a little better later. That's one of the new props we did that's kind of like from the ride. This is our stockade guy. A little hard to see at night, but you know, he's kind of in a stockade and he's motion activated, so when people walk by, you'll like lunge out at him and everything, and you kind of see how his head does that. And now you can see a little better how some of the blacklight stuff works with the drinking guy. You can definitely see that liquid glows. At one point we tried tonic water, but because of the carbonation it would bubble up and just mess everything up, and also it got really sticky, so it attracted ants and stuff, so then we switched over to the highlighter water. And now you can see the stuff, or the hanging guy kind of kicking away. Some of these other dummies they don't really glow as much. I mean, you can see them when you're there, and there's a guy there, kind of a drunk guy laying down. This is sort of our pirate wench. She's kind of hanging out on the corner there. And then we get into here. You can see the skeleton riding the cannon, and if you look, you can see the steering wheel kind of turn. It's slightly. And this guy does talk. I don't know if he'll talk here, but I know we've got some footage of him actually talking and everything. This is early in the night, and like I mentioned before, that fog, or that he used to have this tree that would block a lot of light. Unfortunately, there's a street light. You can see it right there. We just passed it on the corner, and it puts out so much light that we can't do the black light stuff. But what we ended up doing was we host this giant sail over the street light, and it kind of blocks that light, and we're always nervous that the city will make us take it down if they see it, you know. But it's better than trying to, you know, take a BB gun to the light or something like that. We always got neighbors saying, "Oh, I'll shoot that thing out." So, and like they wouldn't know who did that. So it's a little safer to put that big sail because it kind of has a pirate theme to it. Now you can see kind of a little close up on the pirate, or on the some of these guys. Also, so I think later on I took some footage with kind of like a shine of light a little bit, so you can maybe see a little better. But you can see it looks really creepy. Like some of the stuff in the daytime, and I mean, some of it looks kind of cheesy, but at night, I mean, everything kind of comes together when you add the fog machine and you add the music and just all that different stuff. It really does really get it. Oh, here we can see, yeah, that stuff really glows. I mean, and also it did. Oh, and I guess I should say the tonic water. If you guys don't know, it is like black light sensitive. So if you ever have any, like, if you ever want to do like a mad scientist lab or like theme thing, you might see this guy. I don't know if he's going to talk here in the close up. But anyway, there we go. Yeah, he's a pretty cool prop. I like him. But if you just put tonic water in bottles and you have black light, it will glow. I mean, you can kind of like do a Google search on all the weird stuff that glows with black lights. Laundry detergent's another one. So there was, sometimes we would paint things with, we just mix up some laundry detergent and like actually paint on the house, like Keep Out or something weird like that, and you wouldn't be able to see it unless you had the black light. So it's kind of cool. Now we'll get up to this guy. Now this is the newest prop that I built. Now if you've been on the ride, the Pirates of the Caribbean in Disneyland, or I assume Disney World's the same way, before you go down that first dip, that first waterfall, there's that pirate up there, and I kind of modeled it pretty much off of that. And here we can see our drunk guy kind of swinging his head away. And he worked for about half the night, and then his one of the mechanisms kind of broke. And we run into that a lot. There's always something that goes wrong, but all in all, we usually have pretty good luck. And the fog machines are all hooked up to fog coolers. And what those do is we got big buckets, and we ordered, I think we got like, I don't know how many, 25 pounds of ice that we use, and it chills the fog, so the fog, it's got kind of a rolling fog, and it keeps to the ground instead of just just this big mass of fog. It usually rolls. Now, depending on the wind, if there was no wind at all, it looks awesome, but there's always a little bit of wind. So now we can kind of see the graveyard. We've got some strobes kind of kicking off. So there's a small portion of the graveyard that is blacklight sensitive. This one right here, I think it says cirrhosis Oliver, like cirrhosis of liver or something, and that's taken directly from an old Looney Tunes cartoon. So we just borrowed that, but we got funny sayings on a lot of the things. We got there's the kind of the directional sign that will show you where everything, it did have just like creepy stuff like Loch Ness and things like that, and we added some things to it like Tortuga and Dead Man's Cove and all that kind of stuff, and Davy Jones' Locker. So this is kind of the centerpiece again. You can see there, but it does steer, and then he will talk and stuff. I don't know. And here's another one later on in the night. His jaw kind of broke, so you can kind of see how he talks. So, but for the most part, and that's something we can fix. But there's always like little tweaking and things like that. But it's pretty cool, just having him, and of course he talks and kind of gives his warning as he's steering the ship. And we've tried different lights. This one is really cool, this red light. I think they sell them, actually I think they're sort of like weird Christmas lights. I don't know what you would use that for, like a Christmas decoration, but they have different colors. But we used to have one that was supposed to look like water. We projected over the pirate flag. You'll see kind of, I think towards the end you'll kind of see that pirate flag. But these little ones, I think they were less than $10, and they really, they work a lot better. That red light. So we're gonna get some more of those if we do it next year. You can kind of see the pirate or the cannon kind of firing off. And what we do, it's remote controlled. So the fog machine is remote controlled, so we can click it and make it go off when we want. And usually what we do is we let the kids, hey, you want to fire off the cannon, and we give them the remote and say just aim it at the cannon and push the button, and then it goes off. And sometimes I think the kids are expecting there to be like a boom or something like that, which I wish there was a way to rig it up so we could do that. You guys have any ideas on that? Let us know. Now's when I've kind of got a little more of a light shining on, so maybe you can see a little better. You can see up there that thing moving around, that glowing thing. That's on top of the cage. That's the bubble machine. And we did the same thing with the water, the bubble water. We filled it with that highlighter water. So unfortunately, unless it gets really close to the black light, you really don't see it. But when it does, they kind of glow. But you can definitely see the little, I don't know what you call those wands. It's like when you blow bubbles, those bubble wands. Well, they kind of spin around and pick up that solution. So the whole thing is soaked, so it just kind of glows. But and here's a little like talking guy that's on the street corner. So when you walk by, he's motion activated, so he tells jokes and stuff. Pretty funny guy. And then again, our kind of pirate winch on the corner, and you can see that string there. That's part of what's holding up the mast that I talked about that we kind of hoist up, and it's really hard to do because we have to get a weight and like throw these ropes over because we don't have a huge ladder or anything, so we just throw these ropes over this this street light, and we pull it, and then we hoist the staff up or this mast up, and it's kind of an endeavor. And we're getting more into the graveyard, so yeah, it's just I figured I'd take another pass because when I shine a little bit of a light, you can see it better, but it's not as creepy. I mean, again, I try to do it just as much as I can, but you really have to kind of see it in person, unfortunately. This is after our like I said, our drunk pirate guy kind of stopped working. It would be neat to have one of these guys kind of reaching out at you. Here you can kind of see the bubble maker and how that thing kind of glows. So we might try to hide that a little more next year. We didn't know I was going to do that. There's another guy. That guy used to be in the cage last year, and then we got a new skeleton. But here you can see again our drinking glowing guy. So that's one of our favorite props. Again, this guy here, I don't know if he's working right now, but he's not as cool as when it's totally dark. Now this is the one that I built, so I just modeled it after that thing from Pirates of the Caribbean all the way down to we got a brick backdrop because it's against some you know, a brick wall in the actual ride. And it came with, like, it almost came in that shape where it's got the swords, but it has these tiny swords, so we kind of hid it behind the bunting and everything, and then got some bigger swords. And here's our pirate chest, and the kids love this because, I mean, just like, is that real treasure? And then, you know, a lot of it's like, you know, just stuff we found at Goodwill or whatever, and, you know, some of it's like painted, like poker chips that are painted gold, and, you know, we'll give those to the kids, and it's just a poker chip painted gold, but they seem to get a kick out of it. This is another prop. This is like one of those butler props, so we kind of turned him into a pirate, but sometimes his head will follow you and his eyes will follow you. He's pretty cool. And then we got some of the boxes, but we try to just, you know, we try to do stuff as inexpensively as possible. We collect stuff throughout the year, go to garage sales and Craigslist and stuff like that. It's really very budget, but I mean, I guess if you added it up, it would be fairly expensive. But we do it over time. We would like to kind of switch up from year to year and do a totally different theme, but it's just not practical. I mean, we've been working on it pretty much all year, so instead we just kind of had a new thing. So, and here's the pirate flag. We kind of got a fan hooked up to it that helps it, you know, glow, or not glow, but, you know, flow in the wind. So yeah, it's pretty cool. But yeah, so that's pretty much our pirate haunt. Let me know what you guys think. If you guys do your own thing, what do you guys do for Halloween? Do you do anything like this? Do you do haunted houses or anything like that? Like, follow, subscribe, and just hit me up in the chat. Let me know what you think, and I'll see you guys later.